Friends, thank you for joining me. Well, Divine Mercy Sunday is a huge day in the Catholic calendar, but so I thought we'd have a conversation about this. And joining me from Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania, is Sister Rose. Hello, sister. How you doing?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you.
Oh, it's great to have you with us. I know you guys are passionate about the Divine Mercy, and perhaps you could share with our audience, because you are new to our audience, about the Divine Mercy. But first of all, a bit about yourself and about your order.
Sure. My name is Sister Rose Walatka, and I'm from the congregation of the Sisters of Merciful Jesus. So if you know St. Faustina, you might know that Jesus asked her to start a new congregation. And she was trying to leave her congregation to start the new congregation, but she didn't manage to accomplish that before dying, prematurely at the age of 33. Well, prematurely in God's time.
Yes.
And a year or so after she died, her confessor and spiritual director, Blessed Michael Sapochko, started this congregation of Sisters of Merciful Jesus. So we were called by Jesus, and the whole message of divine mercy that he gave to St. Faustina, the reason he gave it, the main reason he gave it, and the main reason for the Feast of Divine Mercy and for the chaplet and the hour of mercy, all the graces that the Lord wants to pour out there, the reason is because the world will not be existing for much longer. And now is the time of mercy that the Lord wants to just pour it out in a superabundance right now before the time of justice. And so he sort of just opened up the floodgates during this time where, of course, you can see around us that sin is just out of control, and spiraling. And you can see where the times now that we're in are much worse than past times, even with the bad things, the sin that was going on in the world earlier. So
So, sister, why do you think the Lord wanted to institute this particular feast day after Easter?
I guess when you look at the Old Testament feasts that the Jews had, you can even see in the Bible. Well, one day Jesus was he was at a feast in Jerusalem, and in the Bible it says, on the 8th and the greatest day of the feast, he cried out, anyone who is thirsty, let them come to me.
Mm-hmm.
So the 8th day actually is like the climax of the feast, and we always celebrate an octave of Easter.
Yeah.
And so the Easter octave, really the climax is Divine Mercy Sunday. Really, that's the greatest day, even though it's not the actual day of the resurrection. It is the greatest day of the feast of Easter.
Yes. I know in Diary 1109, he says, in the diary, mankind will not have peace until it trusts itself unto my mercy. Can you unpack this for us? What does that mercy look like for us?
That mercy looks like if a heart is open just a crack, then the Lord, he really wants to come in and change that heart. Every heart, and the hearts of people who are doing things against peace.
Yeah.
Whether that be abortion, like Mother Teresa said, the fruit of abortion is nuclear war. So whether it's abortion, whether it's unforgiveness, whatever it is that's causing this war. I mean, there's many different causes. It's not just the bombs, but it's human hearts. And so the Lord is just wanting, he's wanting to open those hearts. And that is, when that happens, when hearts are open, then the world is transformed, one heart at a time.
Yes, indeed. Indeed, John Paul II instituted this feast day. He says that this was the happiest day of his life. He spoke this on April 30 in 2000. John Paul, speak a little bit about this, because I guess he was I guess, the main driver behind this feast day, right?
Yes. Actually, Blessed Michael Sapochko was working tirelessly for the bishops in Poland to approve the feast and trying to get to Rome about it. But as you may or may not know, in 1958, a bad translation of St. Faustina's diary appeared in Italy, and the whole devotion to the Divine Mercy was banned.
Right.
And so Blessed Michael Sapochko also was severely reprimanded from Rome and told that he was not allowed to speak about anything having to do with St. Faustina. But he continued to take the Divine Mercy as it's found in the Bible and the Church Fathers and preach about it all the time. But he passed away in 1975. And in 1978, when Karl Wojtyła was cardinal in Krakow, he looked into, or he proposed to Rome the proper translation of the Diary of St. Faustina and the truth about the devotion that had been kind of warped through the false translation. And he petitioned Rome that the ban would be lifted. And the ban was lifted in 1978. And so Father Sapochko did not live to see that day, but lo and behold, Karl Wojtyła was elected Pope later the year of the lifting of the ban. So it was just, you can see that he was, even before he became Pope, that he was, that was very important to him, the whole message of divine mercy.
Yes. Share with us, I guess, about the novena, why the Lord wishes us to do this.
Sure. So he tells us to bring, let me just look here. I had a quote I'd like to read actually from the diary. Mm-hmm. I desire that during these 9 days you bring souls to the fount of my mercy, that they may draw therefrom strength and refreshment, and whatever graces they need in the hardships of life, and especially at the hour of death. Mm-hmm. On each day you will bring to my heart a different group of souls, and you will immerse them in this ocean of my mercy, and I will bring all these souls into the house of my Father. Okay. You will do this in this life and in the next. I will deny nothing to any soul whom you will bring to the fount of my mercy. On each day you will beg my Father, on the strength of my bitter passion, for graces for these souls. So I want to say that it's again, each day of the novena is lifting up to the Lord a different group of souls, and you're focusing on those hearts, on any hardness of heart, any closeness, any unforgiveness or sin, that the Lord would touch those hearts. And it says, or Jesus said, on each day you will beg my Father, on the strength of my bitter passion, for graces for these souls. And I'd just like to say something about the chaplet of divine mercy.
Yes.
In the chaplet of divine mercy, we're offering God the Father, we're offering Jesus to God the Father, which happens at every Mass. The priest always says, we offer you this holy and living sacrifice, or we offer you to God the Father, the bread of life and the cup of eternal salvation. And so we're offering this precious Son of God to God the Father. And Jesus says, on the strength of my bitter passion, you're asking for graces. So we say, for the sake of his sorrowful passion, have mercy on us and on the whole world. So we're asking, actually, we're reflecting or meditating on the passion, like the sorrowful mysteries, for example, during the 5 decades. And we're showing the Lord in our mind's eye, we're showing God the Father what Jesus went through for us. And we're saying, don't let that be in vain. You see what Jesus suffered for us, and don't let it be in vain. And the beautiful thing is that that's God the Father's soft spot. He can't say no. when you're asking by virtue of what Jesus went through for us, that is going to move God's heart like nothing else.
Yes.
And that makes the chaplet so powerful. And that's why, even though Jesus doesn't specify that you should pray the chaplet of mercy with the novena, that is the best way really to beg the Father on the strength of his bitter passion for graces, for the souls that Jesus is bringing, is asking you to bring to the Father that day.
That's wonderful, sister. Wonderful. Can you explain a little bit about the plenary indulgence?
Yes, the church is offering a plenary indulgence, which we know is forgiveness of all sins and punishment.
Yes.
And that's a common thing in the church. Yes. However, even the promise that Jesus made regarding Divine Mercy Sunday, which was forgiveness of all sins and punishment, yes. It's like not only forgiveness of sins, but like all the purgatory time we acquired,
yes,
we accumulated throughout our life through all our sin is all wiped away. And so this is even greater than what the plenary indulgence would give us. And we need to bear in mind that since the church is offering the plenary indulgence, which is less,
yes,
we can't really ignore that.
Yeah.
We need to fulfill the requirements for the plenary indulgence in order to receive the greater, the forgiveness of sins and punishment.
Yes.
And so there are some requirements for that.
Which leads me on to my next question. What are those requirements from the Lord?
First of all, you need to go to confession on or before the actual feast. So you can go in the week during the Easter octave. You can go on the Saturday before, of course. You can go on Divine Mercy Sunday. But I'll tell you one thing, Sister Faustina never went to confession on Divine Mercy Sunday. Yeah. In the convent, they had their confessor coming one day a week, or every 2 weeks, depending. Sometimes they had one come 1 week and the second one come the second week and rotating, or they had the same one come for 3 weeks and then they had another one come the fourth week. But it was always during the week in the convent. She would not have gone to confession on Divine Mercy Sunday. And people are under the impression that they have to go to confession on Divine Mercy Sunday.
Yes, yes.
And it's not the case. And priests should not be burdened with that unless the feast, which is actually for sinners, it's not like a party for the faithful. It's a refuge for sinners.
Yes.
So if you have prayed somebody back to Mass and you have attracted them to the graces of Divine Mercy Sunday and they are going to confession, then they're the ones who should be in line at the confessional on Divine Mercy Sunday. The ones who haven't been in 10, 20, 30, 40 years to confession, not those who just went before Easter. Those ones should not be burdening the priests, because we know Sunday is the busiest day of the year for them. We know that they're short in number now more than ever before, and so that confession, it could be after, even if you are in a state of grace. You can also go like during the week after. There's nothing stopping you, because you will have gone before.
Yes.
You don't have to go right before. So that's confession.
And what else is there anything else we need to do?
Yes, we need to we have to attend Holy Mass on the feast and receive Holy Communion. However, even John Paul II, when he instituted Divine Mercy Sunday in the year 2000, he put in provisions for those who can't go to Mass. Yes. And so even during COVID, all the people who were wanting to receive Holy Communion but couldn't, if they were still fulfilling the other parts of, the other requirements,
Yeah.
then, they were receiving the indulgences and all the graces. So it's not, of course, we go to Mass on Sundays because that's a precept of the church, and we do have to attend. So obviously, we will go to Mass on Divine Mercy Sunday. And if we are in a state of grace, we will receive Holy Communion. Well, if we're not in a state of grace, we should not be receiving Holy Communion. So
Yes.
it's all,
Yes. So if you can't, you can still obtain these graces if you can't get to the church. So if you're ill or disabled or whatever, you can still obtain these graces.
Or if they're closed for COVID, you just have to recite the Our Father and the Creed before a devout image of our merciful Lord Jesus, and pray a devout invocation to the merciful Lord Jesus, like Jesus, I trust in you, for example.
Yes. And of course, we also have to pray for the intentions of the Holy Father.
Yes. So that's another thing. Yes, the third. Besides going to confession and attending and receiving Holy Communion, we have to pray for the Holy Father's intentions. To receive the indulgence. And the thing is, I know I'm guilty of this myself, for just being under the impression that Our Father, Hail Mary, and Glory be is enough. But it's specified that the Apostles' Creed is required to receive indulgence. So I just wanted to point that out.
Yes,
the Apostles' Creed, and you can say the Our Father and Hail Mary also, but the Apostles' Creed is like it's part of the requirements. And so don't
when you're saying the novena, include the creed.
Yeah, when you're on Divine Mercy Sunday, when you're praying for the
when you're praying on Divine Mercy Sunday. Okay. Yeah. Also, before we came on camera, you mentioned about the importance of acts of mercy. This is very important because, the Lord just doesn't want it to stop there, right? We get all this grace and then we forget to live the way He wants us to live. So
exactly. Mm-hmm.
It's so important, sister, right? That we need to extend that mercy that He has given to us to others. Speak into this for us also, please. And if you could also speak on corporal and spiritual acts as well. That's also important.
Sure, you bet. Okay, I'll say that, Jesus demanded, he said, yes, the first Sunday after Easter is a feast of mercy, but there must also be acts of mercy. And I demand the worship of my mercy through the solemn celebration of the feast. So there have to be, acts of mercy, and even the strongest faith is of no avail without works.
Yes.
So, we know that even from the book of James, that faith without works is dead.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So we need to show mercy to others. And, we receive that mercy on Divine Mercy Sunday, and it's supposed to transform us. Because if we really grasp what that means, that all our sins and punishment are forgiven, and that we would go straight to heaven if we died right then. This is such a tremendous grace, remembering our own sinfulness. That should spur us on to just go out and spread that mercy with others, and go out and bring others to the founts of mercy.
Yes.
And we do that by through the spiritual and corporal works of mercy.
Yes.
So whether it's feeding the hungry, by Mary's Meals, for example, that's a great apostolate, or giving drink to the thirsty. It's a hot day. Just bring an extra bottle of water with you and hand it to a person on the street who's, you can tell, is, thirsty.
Yeah. So what is the difference? What is the difference between corporal and spiritual acts of mercy?
Well, corporal, it comes from the word, corpus, body. So we're tending to the bodily needs, like a roof over the head, clothes.
Yeah. The physical.
Burying the dead, like digging the grave, whereas the spiritual works are, praying for the living and the dead, forgiving injuries, bearing wrongs, instructing the ignorant, counsel the doubtful, comfort the sorrowful, all these things you do with words, or through prayer, or
Sister, I guess if you were to sum up, the huge significance of this day and the importance of it, what would you say the main key elements of Divine Mercy Sunday are?
I think that the novena is critical for preparing. And the thing is that we all have souls that belong to those categories. We also have our beloved ones who are joined the Mormons, for example, or just they're lukewarm. They're not. They're or they're in purgatory.
They've fallen away from the church. We have lots of people in our families and in our friends that we need to pray for.
Yes.
And I say this wonderful gift to us is that each day we can bring each group of individuals that are on our heart to the Lord and ask him to pour out his mercy on these people. What a tremendous gift it is to us, right?
Yes.
Who wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't want it?
Who wouldn't? Yes, exactly.
Yeah, yes. I could tell you straight away who I want to pray for in a heartbeat. So friends, I want to encourage you at home. I'm sure you have friends and family who are either lukewarm, who are going through situations or problems. You can bring them to the Lord on this special week before Divine Mercy Sunday. So we want to encourage you to do so. Sister, I just want to, if you want to share a little bit about how people can know more about your ministry, and how they can get in touch if they'd like to.
Well, our congregation is pretty small. It's only like 120 sisters in the whole world. And like in the US, or here in Pittsburgh, it's just 2 of us. We'll have a third one joining in May. But we have a house in Letterkenny, Ireland, and it's just 3 sisters there. We have a house in Jerusalem. It's everywhere. It's 3 sisters, or 2 sisters in South Africa. We have sisters in Sierra Leone. We have in Germany.
Yeah.
We've got, usually it's just like 3 or 4 sisters abroad. Or we have Brazil also. We have a house in Brazil. We have a house in Colombia, I think, or one of those countries down there in South America. But just 2 or 3 sisters. And then in Poland, we have more larger houses. That's where we're originated out of. And so to get in touch with us, or to know more about our ministry, you can look online.
It's Sisters of Merciful Jesus.org, isn't it? And we'll put the link in the description.
Yeah, and there's information about the Letterkenny house in there, and you can contact them. That's probably the closest one to all of you. But if you're ever going to Vilnius on pilgrimage, for example, we have sisters there living in the house where that Merciful Jesus image was painted, the original. So
Sister,
tour that.
Before we close, what would you like to say to people to encourage them to take part in this great feast day?
I would say that, again, what I started with, the reason the mercy devotion is here is that these are the times of mercy. And hey, let's drink it in. Let's be sponges for that mercy while it's the time of mercy. Because when the day of wrath comes afterwards, we don't want to have that. We want to have the mercy, and the floodgates are open, especially on Divine Mercy Sunday. The better prepared our hearts are, the better disposed they are, the more we'll benefit from that. Mm-hmm. So I think I just can't emphasize that enough. The whole need of
the world needs
taking advantage of everything.
Yes, exactly, friends. The world needs, the Lord's mercy. And I want to encourage you, please take advantage of this merciful times that we're living in, as Sister says. We will put all the details as to how you can do this novena in the description of this video. Thank you, Sister, for joining us today to emphasize the importance of Divine Mercy Sunday. The novena starts this Friday, so please don't forget. Again, Sister, thank you for taking the time for speaking to us today. It's my first time to meet you, and first time on our platform. So we want to thank you for taking the time to join us from Pittsburgh in America, in Pennsylvania. If I am not online, have a beautiful Easter. And until next time, bye-bye for now. Thank you, Sister, and God bless you.
Oh, my pleasure. God bless you.